Yes.
Hi, this is Paula Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole. We've just had a really interesting show with Alan Steinfeld from New Realities, and he interviewed somebody named Oscar
Hsu.
Oscar Hsu knows so much about Tibetan Buddhism and the path of the Siddhas. And the path of the Siddhas for a lot of people is a little mysterious, a little bit sometimes scary. And yet, today, it seems people are really longing to have more energy in their life so that they can address problems without Prozac and find more natural solutions. So we tend to think that these are unnatural practices, and yet they're not really unnatural practices. There is a tradition behind them. And what I want to do is see if Oscar can kind of be more practical about information that he gave on Alan's interview. And I would encourage people to listen to the interview that you had with Alan, because I don't want to go over that. But the one thing I was interested in is you said there was a channel in the body that has to be opened by putting more energy into it, but that the tendency for this channel would be to close. So it seemed as though the skill to go in the direction of vitality and, you know, the opposite of Prozac and being bogged down by all the activities that seem to bog people down would be to understand, first of all, how you can put energy into a channel that once opened will keep nourishing you, and then second of all, how do you keep it open? And then I'm wondering if you could just use me right now as an example that I'll follow your instructions to do this.
Okay.
And then you can explain accordingly. Whatever you think was missed in Alan's interview, then elaborate.
Okay. So, to clarify, it's part of the central channel, and it's a center or a cavity that can be created from a bindu, which is like a small ring or a small point. It's so small it looks like a point, but it's more like a very tight ring.
So a central channel for people that don't know anything about yoga or Buddhism or anything would be just like sitting upright, and when you're feeling the...
It's a channel that runs from the perineum all the way up to
which
the...
is between the sexual organ and the anus.
And
For
there
those
you go.
that don't know,
There
I
you
can
go.
say that.
And to the top of the head.
Okay, to the crown chakra.
To the crown chakra. So...
Because I think people intuitively know that when they're all slumped and collapsed, they're sort of...
Well, the reason why, it kinks off the central channel.
Okay.
So when you sit up straight or you stand straight, then the central channel is opened. Actually, it helps to tuck the pelvis. In Qigong, you often tuck the pelvis, which is to rotate the tailbone forward. So instead of pointing down, it points forward.
No, it's really extraordinary when you meditate and find that do-my point. I guess that's where the center, kind of like a center of a tree that nourishes everything. And also Alexander work has been very helpful because I've had a lot of back surgery. But go on.
Okay. The reason why people don't activate it spontaneously is because, there are a lot of reasons, but the ground reason is that they don't absorb enough energy. They don't fill their 3 dantians, and they can't bring the energy up here. So,
because you said they were mostly learning to fill it here, that's just sort of our society being concerned with sexual pleasures.
Well,
because Wilhelm Reich
they
said
fill
the
and
whole thing.
Disperse.
And disperse it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Similar to Wilhelm Reich's work, or were you
Yeah.
familiar with it? Because he said the whole body could be orgasmic. Is that the same idea?
It happens especially in our tradition, the Kunlun tradition. Is you reach a level where the white drops, pervade the whole body, and you melt all the white drops, so every cell of the body is experiencing an orgasm.
What are white drops?
That part of you, that part of your essence that enables you to experience bliss. When you have an orgasm, it's in dependence on the white drops. The white drops is what get dispersed in men. It becomes physical. So
Now I know in Indian Ayurveda they talk about different layers of how the organs function together, and this culminates in the production of semen. So that it shouldn't be, I mean, in the case of the male body, I'm sure there's the similar equivalent for the female body, so that, good digestion becomes the basis ultimately of the energy flowing in such a way that you achieve this, I guess, would you call that drops? Is that the same thing?
Right. They talk about how in Ayurveda or in Tibetan medicine or in Chinese medicine, how many, drops of blood are required to make how many drops of bone marrow, and how many drops of bone marrow are required to make how many drops of semen. So it's an enormous amount of blood is required to make an enormous amount of bone marrow. An enormous amount an enormous amount of blood is required to make a decent amount of bone marrow.
To make a small amount of semen.
To make a small amount of semen.
Right.
So it's a very, to do internal alchemy where you're changing the body from the inside, you have to have control over the sexual impulse, which begins in the mind, so that you can store enough energy. And it doesn't have to be like forever. I mean, for example, in my tradition, we can open the upper gate in 1 or 2 days. But we don't talk when we do this, because we leak energy through talking.
So that's like lifting the energy up?
So progressively
three centers?
Yes. So if we start in the mornings, so we typically wake up around 5 a.m. We practice, around 5:20. Start practicing from early morning till about 7 p.m. at night. Properly done, it can be done in 1 day.
Can you describe that a little bit?
Sure. Well, we have sadhana. Sadhana means means of approach, and it refers to deity yoga, in deity yoga. So to generate the deity is to generate this energy and to move it through the centers so that you can open the upper gate.
What's meant by deity?
Deity is an intrinsic part of your consciousness. Deity comes from within, and it's a...
Could it be like laws of nature, some organizing principles within your psychology and physiology?
It's like how inner and outer correspond, as above, so below. The reflection of the deity outside is embodied within the light of your own heart.
So different deities would be concerned with different
parts of the body.
That's interesting, because in ancient Greece the Olympics were done so that you knew what was happening in heaven with the different deities. But as you're speaking, I think it's more than just one warrior or one athlete saying that he's worshiping this god and this one's worshiping that god. But maybe it was expressing some natural proclivities within the different bodies. And then they would sort of compete, but not compete for the sake of overtaking someone else, but just for the sake of seeing which was most maybe developed to accomplish. It's just a thought, anyway.
Yeah, it's very interwoven. And so you find that on the path you resonate to whichever level of correspondence means the most to you.
That makes sense.
And like in peeling an onion, you find more and more layers the deeper you go.
So I was struck by you talking about those points, and how would I right in this moment energize a point?
Well, the main way that the Tibetans do it is with a technique that they call prostrations. And it's sort of like a combination of Qigong, yoga, in their own format. And they do
You just prostrate yourself, forehead down?
Yes,
so that all your centers are getting the earth energy? Like
but you have to understand how to do it. If you do some tendon changing, which means you really stretch the tendons are piezoelectric. So you can generate a voltage gradient if you stretch your tendons.
Right.
Okay? So when you do the part of it where you're reaching up, you're inhaling on as you're rising your arms.
And you're doing this facing down?
Let's say you're standing, but I'm going to do it from a seated posture because of the cameras. So imagine that you're standing. You're stretching your arms up and inhaling at the same time. Now you stretch up here. See, you're capturing the heaven energy. Leave your arms up. You grab all of that sky heaven energy. And at the end of your inhalation, because on your inhale you're absorbing, you're bringing in heaven energy. Now begin your exhale. Take that ball of energy and guide it into the entrance of the central channel at the top of the head. And as you continue to exhale, bring energy down the central channel, or the front, the conception channel. You get to your lower dantian. Now you can begin your inhale as you are bending forward. And you inhale. And then in the rest of the prostration, you would do the exhalation as you go to the ground and put your hands on the ground. Now this is the second phase where you're bringing energy from the earth up through your feet. So breathe through the soles of your feet on the inhalation. As you come up, put your hands on your knees. Stop there and exhale. This is modified for the sitting posture. In the standing posture, there's two more phases that are an exhalation and an inhalation because of the increased distance you have to go. But the idea is that in the bending, you're actually compressing the cerebrospinal fluid and forcing it to move up and down
with the breath.
With the breath.
Right.
So coordinated with the breath, then there's some amount of energy that you're circulating through the CSF, the cerebrospinal fluid, through the spine and along the spine, on the outside spine, over here. So you're also moving the energy in the microcosmic orbit.
Right.
Okay. So this way you accomplish three main functions. You're returning energy to the brain to nourish it. You're opening the gate on the Dumai, on the governor channel at the L4 intervertebral disc, so that is a gate that receives universal energy. And it's that universal energy that comes in through that gate, that comes into the center of the abdomen, feeds you energetically, internally, through all your other channels. And then you absorb earth energy through the K1 bubbling spring points on the soles of your feet as you inhale, okay? Comes up to that point that I was talking about in that center, and then the rest of the energy that's not absorbed there distributes everywhere else, the majority in the lower dantian.
Well, I really feel it, and I really thank you, Oscar.
No, you're welcome.
And I really want to encourage everybody to find a practice that is practical for you. I guess that's practice and practical must be the same root. And
this will give you energy.
Yeah, no, I feel it definitely, and I sensed I could do that just by kind of jumping on at the end of your interview, which was, more intellectual about the principles. I've always enjoyed the precision of the Chinese teachings.
Yeah.
Although I've spent so much time with the Indian teachings, maybe they feel you'll sort of naturally sort these things out or gravitate to them, I don't know. But I have been in many Hindu temples, and I've reflected long and deeply on knowledge that I've gotten from Chinese teachings.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's easy to bring in. See, this was a Tibetan practice that informed by the Chinese for the details and the subtleties.
For the details, yeah. But I'm definitely going to hit rewind and play this a lot myself and think about it more, and I look forward to working with you more in the future.
Sure.
Even if you don't live here, we can do it by internet.
Sure.
Okay, so thank you very much. My name is Paula Gloria, and this has been an excursion, a practical excursion farther down the rabbit hole. Thanks.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fun, huh?